Above all else I want to see. Above all else I want to see. Vision has no cost to anyone. It can only bless. Above all else I want to see. Above all else I want to see. Vision has no cost to anyone. It can only bless. Above all else I want to see. Above all else I want to see. Vision has no cost to anyone. It can only bless. Above all else I want to see. Is that your heart's cry? That you want to see? Have vision? Well, let's make it a little nearer the time, and that will be the truth today. We're going to say that throughout the day. That'll be our meditation for today. Is going to be to remember to say that to yourself several times an hour. Let's read the lesson. I'm Forgiveness Willie, teaching forgiveness, crying forgiveness, which is what we need in this world to make this world a happy place where we can truly say, Thy kingdom come, Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Using forgiveness, the key to happiness, to unlock all the things and open the door to our treasure house. Anyway, here we are reading from A Course in Miracles. We're reading from the Foundation for Inner Peace version this year. Here on Monday, January 27th of 2025 is the lesson. And it's actually Friday for me, a few days before that. Above all else, I want to see. Today's idea expresses something stronger than mere determination. It gives vision priority among your desires. Vision. Are we given vision priority among our desires? You may feel hesitant about using the idea on the grounds that you're not sure you really mean it. This does not matter. The purpose of today's exercises is to bring the time when the idea will be wholly true a little nearer. There may be a great temptation to believe that some sort of sacrifice is being asked of you when you say you want to see above all else. If you become uneasy about the lack of reservation involved, add, vision has no cost to anyone. If fear of loss still persists, add further, it can only bless. Above all else I want to see. Above all else I want to see. Vision has no cost to anyone. It can only bless. So sing that little song throughout the day. Just keep it in your mind and let it just trickle out. They're so simple little words. The idea for today needs many repetitions for maximum benefit. It should be used at least every half hour, and more if possible. You might try for every 15 or 20 minutes. It is recommended that you set a definite time interval for using the idea when you wake or shortly afterwards, and attempt to adhere to it throughout the day. So when he says that you were encouraged to practice this idea when we first get up or as soon as possible, that's why I like to encourage you to read your lesson the night before so you know what you're going to be doing the next morning. And then throughout the night, think of either yesterday's lesson or today's lesson. Throughout the night, at some point the day ends and the new day begins. And, doing both lessons in the evening, it kind of gives you a continuity but he only says do one lesson a day. But remember yesterday, my attack thoughts are attacking my invulnerability. Boy, we want to take the idea with us and use it permanently. So letting it bleed over and let it kind of I like to think of it as in a race, you hand the baton off to the next racer in in a group race. So you're handing the baton off. Yesterday, my attack thoughts are attacking my invulnerability. To today's lesson, above all else, I want to see. Okay, so many repetitions are needed. The idea for today needs many repetitions for maximum benefit. It should be used at least every half hour and more if possible. You might try for every 15 or 20 minutes. It is recommended that you set a definite time interval for using the idea when you wake or shortly afterwards, and attempt to adhere to it throughout the day. It will not be difficult to do this, even if you are engaged in conversation or otherwise occupied at the time. You can still repeat one short sentence to yourself without disturbing anything. Above all else, I want to see. The real question is, how often will you remember? How much do you want today's idea to be true? Answer one of these questions and you have answered the other. You will probably miss several applications and perhaps quite a number. Do not be disturbed by this, but do try to keep on your schedules from then on. If only once during the day you feel that you were perfectly sincere while you were repeating today's idea, you can be sure that you have saved yourself many years of effort. Collapsing time. Okay, so we know what to do. We're just going to say that throughout the day. Above all else I want to see. Above all else I want to see. Vision has no cost to anyone. It can only bless. Okay, so take that with you today. Hum that little tune, or if that doesn't help you, well, then just, above all else I want to see. And tell yourself that. When some years I've set my clock. It became, I tell you what I thought would be kind of cool. Of course, you have to be somebody that stayed in the house all day, but if you had one with a little cuckoo clock, some of those cuckoo clocks make a little chime and a little bird comes out and cuckoo. About once every hour, sometimes every 15 minutes. Some of them make a little chirp. Anyway, I thought, well, that'd be kind of nice, but I'm not in the house all day. Anyway, above all else, I want to see. Anything else we need to say about that? Let's go take a look in our text reading for today. Okay, we're in chapter 4 on this cold morning. Got down to 14 last night. So I got my little hot rock to keep my hands warm sitting in my lap. I leave it on the wood stove at night. You know, during the day it's on the wood stove, and then in the morning when I need to go do my recording outside and it's a little cold, I rolled up in a towel and set it in my lap, and I can warm my fingers up when I'm playing my guitar. You wonder, why do you go outside? You know, a voice crying in the wilderness. No, that's probably not the main reason. That's just kind of a thought I had the other day. Maybe that is. I mean, I feel like it's the right thing to do. It's kind of like my association with homelessness, people that are homeless, kind of remembering what it's like to have to, not to have to, but to maybe even, some people want to. Some people have to, but anyway, you know, being outside, it's like to, and I like to be in God's natural world and try to bring the natural world into my reality as much as possible. Okay, anyway, paragraph 5 in section 4, or chapter 4, the illusion of the ego, section 1, right teaching and right learning, and we left off with paragraph 5. Let's read paragraph 5 again. Every good teacher hopes to give his students so much of his own learning that they will one day no longer need him. This is the one true goal of the teacher. You know, parents are that way. They want their kids to grow up and not need them. Nice for them to come and tell them how much they appreciate them, but not where they need them. It is impossible to convince the ego of this because it goes against all of its own laws. But remember that laws are set up to protect the continuity of the system in which the lawmaker believes. What they say, when a history is written by the winners of wars, because they want to, it's a form of mind control to have people believe certain things. Well, remember that laws are set up to protect the continuity of the system in which the lawmaker believes. It is natural for the ego to try to protect itself once you have made it, but it is not natural for you to want to obey its laws unless you believe them. The ego cannot make the choice because of the nature of its origin. You can, because of the nature of yours. Nature of its origin is the belief in separation, and it's an illusion. But the nature of your origin is unity. That's who you are. And I said you can because of the nature of yours. Paragraph 6. Egos can clash in any situation, but spirit cannot clash at all because it's in harmony with itself. If you perceive a teacher as merely a larger ego, you will be afraid, because to enlarge an ego would be to increase anxiety about separation. I will teach with you and live with you if you will think with me, but my goal will always be to absolve you finally from the need for a teacher. We don't want to have we want to get to the place where we are listening to our own undivided will, our true will that's united with God and with all our brothers, the undivided will of the sonship. So I will teach with you and live with you if you will think with me, but my goal will always be to absolve you finally from the need for a teacher. This is the opposite of the ego-oriented teacher's goal. He is concerned with the effect of his ego on other egos, and therefore interprets their interaction as a means of ego preservation. I would not be able to devote myself to teaching if I believed this, and you will not be a devoted teacher as long as you believe it. I am constantly being perceived as a teacher, either to be exalted or rejected, but I do not accept either perception for myself. And that's I'm not sure I believe you. I'm gonna exalt you. I think you're just incredible, or I don't think you're much anything. But Jesus says, but I don't accept either one of these perceptions for myself. That's where we want to get, where we're not affected by the erroneous thoughts of those around us, or even of the thoughts that might be true that you might get locked into and thinking you're better than what you really are, or kind of an arrogant thinking. Matter of fact, he's going to get in to explain a little bit about humility in this lesson. Let's in this text reading. Paragraph 7. Your worth is not established by teaching or learning. Your worth is established by God. As long as you dispute this, everything you do will be fearful, particularly any situation that lends itself to the belief in superiority or inferiority. Teachers must be patient and repeat their lessons until they are learned. I am willing to do this because I have no right to set your learning limits for you. Now, and we can take note to do that also. Don't set the learning limits of those around you. Whether you think of them as a student or your child or a friend or a coworker or just a person that you meet. And you think, well, they're never going to believe this. They're never going to understand that. Don't say that to yourself. That's not miracle-mindedness. Don't set limits on yourself or others. Okay, so I like what he says. I have no right to set your learning limits for you. Again, nothing you do or think or wish or make is necessary to establish your worth, because it's established by God. This point is not debatable, except in delusions. You can debate all day you want, all day long. It's just an illusion. Your ego is never at stake because God did not create it. Your spirit is never at stake, because he did. Any confusion on this point is delusional, and no form of devotion is possible as long as this delusion lasts. Paragraph 8. The ego tries to exploit all situations into forms of praise for itself in order to overcome its doubts. It will remain doubtful as long as you believe in its existence. You who made it cannot trust it, because in your right mind you realize it is not real. The only sane solution is not to try to change reality, which is indeed a fearful attempt, but to accept it as it is. Just to accept what is. Reality, let's accept it as it is. You are part of reality, which stands unchanged beyond the reach of your ego, but within easy reach of spirit. When you are afraid, be still and know that God is real, and you are his beloved Son, in whom he is well pleased. That's kind of reminds me of that passage we read the other day or we talked about it, Psalm 46, I think, verse 10. Be still and know that I am God. Well, here he's saying, when you are afraid, be still and know that God is real, and you are his beloved Son, in whom he is well pleased. You're his beloved Son. Remember when Jesus was when he had been baptized, the voice out of heaven said, "This is my beloved Son, in whom I'm well pleased." Well, Jesus is saying that can be applicable to you too. You are God's beloved Son, in whom he is well pleased. Do not let your ego dispute this, because the ego cannot know what is as far beyond its reach as you are. God is not the author of fear. You are. You have chosen to create unlike him and have therefore made fear for yourself. You are not at peace because you are not fulfilling your function. God gave you a very lofty function that you're not meeting. Your ego has chosen to be afraid instead of meeting it. When you awaken, you will not be able to understand this, because it is literally incredible. Not believable. Incredible. Has no credence. Do not believe the incredible now. And he has that hyphen, jump out. What do they call that? Italicized. Jump out text. Do not believe the incredible now. Any attempt to increase the believableness is merely to postpone the inevitable. The word inevitable is fearful to the ego, but joyous to the spirit. God is inevitable, and you cannot avoid him any more than he can avoid you. Paragraph 10. The ego is afraid of the spirit's joy, because once you have experienced it, you will withdraw all protection from the ego and become totally without investment in fear. Your investment is great now. Your investment is great now because fear is a witness to the separation, and your ego rejoices when you witness to it. Leave it behind. Do not listen to it and do not preserve it. Listen only to God, who is as incapable of deception as is the spirit he created. Release yourself and release others. Do not present a false and unworthy picture of yourself to others, and do not accept such a picture of them yourself. 11. The ego has built a shabby and unsheltering home for you because it cannot build otherwise. Do not try to make this impoverished house stand. Its weakness is your strength. Only God could make a home that is worthy of his creations, who have chosen to leave it empty by their own dispossession. Yet his home will stand forever and is ready for you when you choose to enter it. Of this you can be wholly certain. God is incapable of creating the perishable as the ego is of making the eternal. So you're eternal because God made you. Paragraph 12. Of your ego you can do nothing to save yourself or others, but of your spirit you can do everything for the salvation of both. Humility is a lesson for the ego, not the spirit. Spirit is beyond humility because it recognizes its radiance and gladly sheds its light everywhere. The meek shall inherit the earth because their egos are humble, and this gives them truer perception. Is your ego humble? Above all else, I want to see. That give you truer perception. Matthew 5:5 is where the meek shall inherit the earth is from, where Jesus was recorded as in the Sermon on the Mount, teaching the Beatitudes. The kingdom of heaven is the Spirit's right, whose beauty and dignity are far beyond doubt, beyond perception, and stand forever as the mark of the love of God for His creations, who are wholly worthy of Him and only of Him. Nothing else is sufficiently worthy to be a gift for a creation of God Himself. Paragraph 13. I will substitute for your ego if you wish, but never for your spirit. Hey, He'll substitute for your ego, but not for your spirit. A father can safely leave a child with an elder brother who has shown himself responsible, but this involves no confusion about the child's origin. The brother can protect the child's body and his ego, but he does not confuse himself with the father because he does this. I can be entrusted with your body and your ego only because this enables you not to be concerned with them and lets me teach you their unimportance. I could not understand their importance to you if I had not once been tempted to believe in them myself. That reminds me of there in Hebrews chapter 4, verse 15, where it says that talking about Jesus, He was tempted in all ways like us. Let us undertake to learn this lesson together so we can be free of them together. I need devoted teachers who share my aim of healing the mind. Do you want to be one of those devoted teachers that share Jesus' aim of healing the mind so we can get this party going here on planet Earth? Have a happy world? We sure need lots of teachers. Join us and let's share. Let's help people heal their minds by us healing our own minds. Jesus says, I need devoted teachers who share my aim of healing the mind. Spirit is far beyond the need for your protection or mine. Remember this. In this world you need not have tribulation, because I have overcome the world. That is why you should be of good cheer. And of course, He's building on what was recorded of Jesus saying in John chapter 16, verse 33, where it said, But Jesus straightway spoke unto them, saying, Be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. We're following one who's overcome the world, who knows how to heal the mind. Okay, well, let's become devoted teachers with Him, okay? Let's see what's going on around the world. You know what? I found that, again, the Laylat al-Miraj, Night of Ascension for Muhammad in Jerusalem, the Islamic holiday, I thought it was yesterday, but the night begins at sundown, and I expect it has something to do with, it probably began last night at sundown. And I don't know which it's tonight or, at some point, real close to today, is the Laylat al-Miraj. And I hope I'm pronouncing that right. If not, someone that knows the proper pronunciation, please email me. My email's in the text below or in the description below. And be sure to put ACIM class in it. That way I'll be sure to read it. Auschwitz Liberation Day, or Holocaust Memorial Day, on this day in 1945, basically the end of World War II and the liberation of those that were at those death camps. Hope we've learned some lessons about that. We won't experience that anymore, but sure. Anyway, Community Manager Appreciation Day. I don't know what that is, but sounds like nice. Be appreciative of anybody, community manager. Bible Day, whatever. Geographic Day, I found these all on holidays and observances. Thomas Crapper Day. I thought that he was the inventor of the toilet, but he was just a plumber. He was very notorious. He was the first one who actually was promoting them. He became known as the Crapper after Thomas Crapper. Prince Edward hired him in 1861. Because Thomas Crapper was an English plumber. Sir John Harrington was actually the inventor of the toilet in 1592. Vietnam Peace Day, the Paris Peace Accord was signed on this day in 1973. And World Breast Pump Day, for you mothers that have children, you want to breastfeed them, but you have to be somewhere and leaving them with your older brother or older sister or whoever. And you want to get a little milk. Okay, let's see. And out of edible landscaping, we've got the Bob Gordon Elderberry, which is the Sambucus canadensis. Bob Gordon Elderberry is a native elderberry from Missouri. Berries up to 1/4 inch in diameter. It is the leading juice variety. Current commercial cultivation is to cut to the ground in the winter, and flowers and fruits are formed on new canes, producing the same season, zones 3 through 9. Okay, is there anything else that we need to talk about? I think our word for peace, let's take it from the Filipino people. And the word that I have is Pasensiya, if I'm pronouncing it properly. Again, if I'm not, be sure to let me know. Send me an email. Pasensiya. Pasensiya be with you. Peace be with you. Out of our Filipino brother and sister's tongue. Above all else I want to see. Above all else I want to see. Vision has no cost to anyone. It can only bless. And remember our master's teachings out of today's reading. Let's try that. In this world you need not have tribulation, because I have overcome the world. That is why you should be of good cheer. One more time. In this world you need not have tribulation, because I have overcome the world. That is why you should be of good cheer. Above all else I want to see. Above all else I want to see. Vision has no cost to anyone. It can only bless. One more time. Above all else I want to see. Above all else I want to see. Vision has no cost to anyone. It can only bless. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining me today. Be sure every 15-20 minutes today, try to remind yourself, above all else I want to see. Pasensiya. Peace out of Filipino. Pasensiya. Above all else I want to see. Vision has no cost to anyone. It can only bless. Above all else I want to see. Above all else I want to see. Vision has no cost to anyone. It can only bless. Pasensiya.